Welcome to the Brotherhood of Geeks. I'm Brett J. Rasmussen, and this is Dualshock'd, the Brotherhood of Geeks PlayStation podcast. I totally messed that up. I lost my order and everything, but that's okay. I totally did it out of order, but that's okay.
Amateur hour.
Shut up. As I've said, I'm Brett J. Rasmussen, and over here, I got my other co-host.
You got Brett J. Rasmussen.
Ah, man, whoa, there's two of me. There's two of me.
No, you got Spectre.
What's up, buddy?
What's going on? You flubbed that one up there, but let's keep it rolling, I guess.
Nah, good. Yeah, I know, right? It's all dumb. So,
but yeah, no, I'm doing good. I haven't really been playing all that much, recently. I actually just recently got a new TV, so that's pretty, always exciting.
Nice. That's always good. Very like that. You also got that sweet. What kind of TV is it?
I got it's an 85-inch Sony. God, what model is it? It's like an X900 something, whatever. Yeah, just been. I mean, it's a huge upgrade from what I had before.
Yeah.
It's going from a 65 to an 85-inch TV. It's just,
very nice. That's got to be rad. That's got to be really, really nice. So yeah, but yeah, no, like for me, nothing much has been going on. We have this very lull time, which is really nice. I very much like this lull that we have right here.
It's kind of that. It's that beginning of the year, like all the excitement of the holidays gone. It's kind of like
which I'm okay with. I'm so okay with that. So I'm like, right now I can play a bit of catch up. I can. Do things, and I think, the next, big game that's coming out is Hitman 3. I think, I know there's going to be a Scott Pilgrim remaster coming out to PS4, and a few other things. A Medium comes out for Xbox, but really it's like Hitman. I feel like that's like the next big one, but I haven't really seen much talk about Hitman 3. I don't know, maybe it's just me.
Yeah, no, honestly, there's not a ton to say about it. It's just a solid, reliably good series of games. It's the same developer. IO has been with them the whole time. They make a consistent, great quality product, and that's why I'm really excited. Not only just for Hitman. I'm kind of way far behind on Hitman. I really need to get caught up, but I'm excited to see what we do with the James Bond license too. That's gonna be very interesting.
Yeah, I did hear about that. That definitely sounds like a lot of fun. I'm very much intrigued by where that could go with the James Bond IP. That'd be very, very, very good. That'd be very fun. But yeah. Alrighty then, so this is pretty much the first episode of Dualshock'd of the year 2021!
True.
Yeah, I had to give it flair. I had to give it a little bit of oomph for that. I did it to pop you, Spectre, but I guess not. Spectre's like, I don't care. I'm just going to be over here doing whatever I'm doing. I don't care.
Whatever I'm doing.
Go ahead. Go ahead and scream and yell, Brett. Just go ahead and do it. I'll just...
That's just normal for you guys. That's just kind of what I expect from you. So
yeah. So, with that being said, so the last episode of Dualshock'd, we went ahead and announced our nominees for Game of the Year. And now what we're going to do is we're going to use our main topic, our PlayStation conversation, to kind of do a little bit of an overview of the 6 nominees, and then we will announce the Brotherhood of Geeks Game of the Year 2020 in that. So, without further ado, should we go into our PlayStation conversation?
I believe we should.
Alrighty, well then, this is our PlayStation conversation. PlayStation. Okay, so we pretty much had 6 different nominees for pretty much the Brotherhood of Geeks Game of the Year. You can go ahead and watch our, if you haven't yet seen it already, we have our nominee video up on the channel, which go ahead and check it out. But if you have not seen it yet, I'll just go ahead and do another brief rundown of what we have here. So, let me go ahead and pull back up the list. Alright, so I'm trying to, there we go. Have to find everything. Alright, well, alright, here we go. I got it now. Here we go. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about them one by one. And then we'll announce the Game of the Year. So, the first nomination was Final Fantasy VII Remake. We're just going to do a quick overview of them. We're not going to go too crazy on them, because we're going to spend most of the episode talking about the Game of the Year. So, Spectre, to begin, what did you think of Final Fantasy VII Remake?
I have not gotten around to fully playing it yet. I played the demo. I have the game. I just have not gotten around to actually playing it. But I mean, like I said, I'm not the, and I've said this before, I'm not the, big Final Fantasy fan. It's that's just kind of, I got nothing against the series really. It just never, was my thing. But it's yeah, I don't know. It's something I plan to get around to playing. It's something more so I'm doing for my girlfriend's sake more than anything. Just because she's really into it. She loves Final Fantasy, so I will get around to playing that. So, but yeah, no, it's game that intrigues me. I mean, it's gotten a lot of positive fanfare. So that's definitely a good sign. So. Yeah, but I'm just not the target audience for it. It's nothing against the game itself, But I'm just really not the target audience for it. But I know you're not the. I wouldn't exactly describe you as like a Final Fantasy fan either.
I mean, honestly, that's my very first Final Fantasy game. I've actually never touched Final Fantasy before that. I mean, I played 15 a bit before then. But no, like this was the one that I spent a lot of time with. And this game is really good. This game is really, really good with, mind you, it's a gorgeous looking game, but really what I like the most about it is the combat system. It has the the real life hack and slash style that you can do, but then there's a lot of strategy involved with it where you can kind of like freeze time, and kind of it pretty much kind of what you could do in Coder, where you could pause the game, like not pause, go into a menu, but you can pause all of the action, and then you can map out what you want all of your characters to do, and then they will do it in real time after you resume the game. And then all the different powers and everything. It's such a fun game, and they spent a lot of time with like the backstory. Again, this is just the first part. This isn't like Final Fantasy VII Remake. This is not the whole game. It's only like the first part. So,
and it's I've heard they made some changes with the backstory of the game. They've kind of altered a few things. So, kind of a risky move, I mean, there's people that are just they want it to just be exactly the way they remember it. But I mean, I don't know. You always have to toe this careful line when you're doing these remake style games of keeping it true to the original, but at the same time maybe you want to try something different too.
Yeah, and I can't talk about like how the original was compared to Final Fantasy VII Remake, because I didn't play the original PS1 game back in the 90s. I was too busy playing Crash Bandicoot and Spyro and Tomba and all the other like movie time games. Like Harry Potter. Or Power Rangers. Oh yeah, those are fun. I don't care what anyone says. Love it. Anyway, but yeah, like we had Final Fantasy VII Remake as one of our nominees, which was just a fun game, just a really really fun game. The next one, you can talk much more about this game. I do know the next game we will talk about is Doom Eternal. That was our second nomination.
Yes.
I'll let you talk about this one because this you're like yes this.
Oh yeah, just fantastic. I mean, really up until another game came out, I honestly thought it was going to be my personal game of the year. Just a blast. I mean, it's amazing to me how much better the game feels in terms of like a game sense. How much better it plays than Doom 2016. Of course, this is a follow up to this incarnation of Doom. This series of Doom from 2016. Obviously, Doom's been around since forever, since the 90s. But Doom Eternal it plays fantastic. It's just such a satisfying game to play. Oh, yeah. Really, the only flaws that I mentioned with it is I wish the multiplayer was pretty weak. And I actually, I was somebody that actually enjoyed the multiplayer in Doom 2016. And I felt that this, I appreciate what they tried to do here. They did something a little bit different. You could play as it was this kind of this demons versus the Slayer thing. It just doesn't really work. I mebut it was fun for a couple of matches, and then I just kind of dropped it after I got my achievements in it and moved on. But at least they tried something different. And then the other big complaint I had was just the story. I don't know how to take the story. Like, it's just they try to make this ultra serious thing, but kind of with splashes of campiness, and I don't really know what. I guess I'm trying to understand. I don't really understand where they were coming from. Either they're going for some kind of really, unless there's some like hidden meaning in the story that I just am not seeing. I feel like that's just kind of like me interpreting things. It's not what the developers wanted. So aside from those two things, it's just a great, satisfying game to play. I played for the campaign twice at least. Yeah. Oh my god, that's such a cool. It's like a random thing. I'm in a match here with a guy. Like if you were to make a character in a game, any game that like lets you like choose your name, you have to do this. So there's a guy in here. His name is Boba Brett.
What?
I'm dead serious. He's the first guy on the list in this match I'm in right now. Boba Brett. That's hilarious. You have to remember
funny. That is funny. Well, it's going to be here. Anyway, it don't matter. It's going to be remembered. It's here on the show. It ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, that way you won't forget it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, I had to mention that because I'm just like, of course, it's so random, But Doom Eternal, fantastic. I really thought it was going to be my personal game of the year, but then something else came along.
I completely agree. Doom Eternal was such a good, it's so much fun. That was the one game in my opinion, out of the entire year that was just pure fun. I barely remember the storyline. I don't even remember what happened. It's just like you have to fight off, I guess, maybe some demon gods or something. I barely remember the story.
Yeah, it's like, you have to go kill these hell priest things and all this other stuff and blah, blah, blah. It just is like, I just don't really care, it became this super
the thing
serious type of thing.
The thing is that the story was there to give you a sense of direction, from a beginning, middle, and end. But the reason why you play Doom is because of the gameplay, and that gameplay is so much fun. What I like about it is that you have to use all your guns. You can't just use a main. You have to cycle through your entire arsenal. And honestly, I do agree. That was my game of the year. because that came out in March. They came out in March when, pretty much when the pandemic started, or around that time. Um, and yeah, like I just Doom Eternal was just such a pure fun game. Um, with it, I had so much fun, and there wasn't a game that topped it for the first half of the year, really until later. And we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, no, I agree. Doom Eternal was just pure fun, just pure fun. All right, and then the next nomination we have is for Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout. Um, so yeah,
Really?
yeah, that was one. Yes, that is one of the nominations of how all the numbers lined up and everything. Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout was one of the six. Um, did you ever kind of play that game or whatever?
Yeah, no, I played it. It was a free download on PlayStation. I gave it a try. I was not personally, all that wowed by it. I mean, for what it was for a free game, I mean, not bad, but at the same time, I mean, it didn't really. I mean, it definitely. I'll give you this. It definitely has a very cutesy art style that gets you in right away, and it's a game that makes you smile. At least the first time you play it. So I did enjoy the presentation. I enjoyed some of the gameplay, even though if the gameplay can feel a little random at times, and it's kind of almost a little bit luck based at times,
Mm-hmm.
which can be frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, like I said, for a free game, essentially, I can't really complain about it. Do I think it's worthy of being like in the top 5 for the year? Personally, I disagree. I just don't think it's anything special, to be honest with you.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like when I did all the math with how we did it, and we all had our own votes, and then we used the Game Awards nominations and winners as the counterbalance. Like I was actually very surprised at how it landed. But with all the math that was involved, that's how it was done. That's how we got to what we had. That's how we got there. But no, and again, I'm not mad at it. Fall Guys is such a it's a different game. It's like yes, it was a free game. If you had PlayStation Plus, you got to download it for free when it first came out, and it was pretty much it's a race. You're racing through obstacles. It's like Double Dare. Pretty much that's what you're doing, but instead of a passing the baton, it's just you're doing the whole the final the slopsticle course as it was through it, or like the temple maze and Legends of the Hidden Temple. Like you're going through from beginning to end, and you have to get through obstacles, and you're trying to like move through tons of different people, and you can customize your character and stuff. And it was like a really like it was like one of the games to play when it first came out. Like everyone was playing it. That was one of the biggest games on Twitch during that time. And then I think it's just that came out, and then Among Us came out like out around the same time, and Among Us just in the social zeitgeist kind of just took over because of memes or whatever it would be. And mind you, Among Us is definitely a fun game, but Fall Guys Ultimate Knockout is definitely another fun party game. That's a really fun and really good party game that you can play. It's very easy to pick up. It's not hard to play. It's not hard to do. And then in order to get first, there is like it is a bit challenging because you're playing against like 50 to 100 other people. So again, it's a different type of battle royale kind of thing. But yeah, that game is really really fun. So yeah. Then the next nominee that we have is one of your favorites, Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2.
Yes, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Really, really surprised me. Like I came in kind of skeptical of it. I was like, because we've seen this before. We've seen a like a remaster of this before, and it didn't really work out all that well. And
you're talking about with Tony Hawk HD.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's just that didn't really work out at all for it just was not good.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of went in with some some healthy skepticism, but at the same time, I knew that we've had other we've had a lot of good remakes in recent history here. So I went in with the early previews of the game and everything looked really good. So got it, and it's fantastic. This is the definitive version to play now. I don't really feel a need to go back to playing the original 1 or 2 again, except it's like a nostalgic thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is the definitive version of the game. Just fantastic. Takes it has everything that the original games had. Didn't really lose anything other than like maybe a couple of songs, which whatever. And I guess maybe if you're like a purist, maybe you don't like some elements of it, like they can do like things like manuals and reverts in the original game, which you couldn't do before. But aside from those little things, it is fantastic. Like I said, definitely up there. For me, I think I gave it like my number 2 slot. It's just a fantastic game. Gameplay feels amazing, which is the most important part about it. Has an amazing soundtrack. The graphics look great. It looks like it looks like a 2020 game. I have very little to complain about with it. It's just.
Actually, just to fix you on that, you put Tony Hawk as number 3. You made
did I?
yeah,
that's
you
right.
put
Yeah, that's
you
right. I
put
forgot about that.
yeah, you put Doom Eternal as number 2. Tony Hawk was number 3.
That's fine. Yeah,
but yeah. No, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, I agree, Tony Hawk HD was such a mess of a game when it came out. But then I wasn't too worried about this game only because it was developed by Vicarious Visions, who did the Crash Bandicoot 1, 2, and 3 remaster, the Insane Trilogy, and they blew that thing out of the park. That was phenomenal, and they added stuff, and it's just great. So Vicarious Visions doing Tony Hawk, the remaster, was great. I love this game. This game is so... it feels like I'm repeating myself, but all these games were fun. But playing this, it
is like a best of list we're doing.
So. Oh, of course. But what I the flow of it, the controls were just so smooth, and it very much felt like getting back on the bike. And there's still skill to it, so I was definitely rusty, so it took me a bit to okay, how do I do these tricks again? How do I do all these things? So especially doing getting there, and then they added the revert into everything. There's so much that they added into it. Maybe my only gripe is when you're doing the leveling, it takes forever to level your character, get to level 100, which is for a trophy. That's probably the only gripe.
Which is fine. That's very nitpicky. It's that doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't really mean anything or impact the game aside from just that trophy. Yeah, no, I trophy design is an element of the game's presentation. I agree with that, but it's just it's a very nitpicky thing. We'll just put that out there.
I get you there, but it's just I don't know. I wish that leveling was a bit easier. But again, this isn't a bad thing. I still love that game.
Yeah, if anything, you can look at it as kind of like a positive. It does encourage you to get everything else in the game, and so there's that element of it too.
With that, then so we have Tony Hawk. Then after we have the next game we had nominated was The Last of Us Part 2. Which, in my opinion, for me, was going to be my game of the year before what we will be announcing in a little bit. And again, I think you and I have talked about this game almost ad nauseum, but let's go ahead and talk about this one last time to get this out of the way. I know you and I differ on this, and with kind of the members of the Brotherhood and that kind of thing, this was very much it was close. It's very much when with all the numbers tallied and everything. Um, it kind of was like the player's choice the player's choice category from the Game Awards, where it was between this game and another game. And I very much loved Last of Us Part 2. I very much enjoyed the story. I think, as I said, the pacing is a bit odd, is a bit off, and I think they could have done better. But I still enjoyed the story. It's a beautiful game. Gameplay is fantastic. Pretty much they just added on top of the very solid, very good gameplay that they had from the first game. But really, the narrative is the point of contention when you talk to people about Last of Us Part 2. And for me, I very much enjoyed it, and I love the story that was told. Yeah.
And yeah, and I didn't.
And Spectre didn't. And
yeah. Well, I mean, I could go on a bit. Like I said, I've gone on a big rant about it before, but I don't really have a lot that's good to say about this game. I didn't personally play it. I've seen it on streams and stuff like that. I've seen it secondhand. It is not the game for me. I was not a fan of the first game either. And I actually played that one for a little while, but it's not for me. I'm not a fan of what I believe this game is trying to kind of politicize. I don't agree with kind of the agenda this game has. I'm sure it's like I said, from what I've seen of it, graphically it looks great. From a gameplay standpoint, it looks great. And I guess if you can kind of close your eyes and ignore the narrative, then it's not a bad game. But the appeal of the game, and even from a fan of it like yourself, is the story. And if you extract the story from it, what you have left is a competently put together game, but it's kind of hollow. So yeah, I just, like I said, I'm not going to get in a big rant about why I don't like the game's politics or anything like that. But that's all I'll really say about it. It's definitely not a game for me. I'm glad that you enjoyed it, but definitely not a game for me. And I do think you enjoy. I'll put it this way: I think you enjoy the game for the right reasons. You actually enjoyed the gameplay. You actually enjoy the world the game presents. You enjoyed the first game. You're not just liking the game because it checks some boxes.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad that you at least you can recognize that, Spectre. And I do believe that there are other people in the audience and in the media who did enjoy it for the story, like for it being the game that's being told. But I'll try to stay off of that side tangent. Also know that Guru Blaze very much enjoyed this game too. This was very much up there for him also. Sadly, Guru Blaze couldn't be here today. He's a bit busy doing other stuff, but that's okay. That's okay. That's why you got the two of us. So we've gone through all the nominations except one, and we've left this one for last because this is the Brotherhood of Geeks Game of the Year 2020.
Samurai. You are a warrior. I can see that. You trained your whole life for this. And you have won battles that lesser men have called unwinnable, yes? But while you were sharpening your sword, do you know how I prepared for today? I learned. I know your language, your traditions, your beliefs. which villages to tame and which to burn. So I'll ask you once again, Samurai. Do you surrender?
That game is Ghost of Tsushima. Yes, it is Ghost of Tsushima. Pretty much took the win, ran away with it. Very much almost all of our number one game. I love this game. This was my game of the year from my personal choice. I believe this was also your game of the year, Spectre, and we just everyone in all the members of the Brotherhood, like Guru Blaze and other guys who work behind the scenes. This was very much the number one choice, and yeah, this is the game of the year. The Brotherhood of Geeks gives Ghost of Tsushima from Sucker Punch and PlayStation Studios our game of the year. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about this wonderful game.
Yeah, no, I mean, I feel like I've said a lot about it already. I've said almost everything there is to say, but I mean, it's the full package. I mean, it really is. It graphically, probably the best looking game on the PlayStation 4 by far. Best looking game on the PlayStation 5 so far too.
Mm-hmm.
Soundtrack, beautiful, awesome, amazing, moving music. Everything sounds great. Looks, like I said, the game looks great, sounds great.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of how it plays, it's a very satisfying kind of mixture of. It's sort of an amalgamation of a lot of different games. It combines things like Far Cry's outpost system with kind of a Ubisoft open world exploration game mixed with a little bit of with a combat system that actually is pretty satisfying because it has it takes sword combat and it actually kind of gives it a little bit of depth with with stance changing, things like that. So just great job with that too. Story, a lot of people are just like, oh, the story is just okay. I think the story was actually pretty good. I mean, there's a little bit of a lull in the middle with it. It opens strong, and there's kind of a lull in the middle, but I think it has a very satisfying ending. I think a lot of the side stories and the side tales in the game are very satisfying.
Yep.
So I really, really enjoyed this game. I'm very surprised too. I'm not what we would call like a big fan of Sucker Punch's previous work. I enjoyed Infamous. I'm not a huge Infamous fan or anything, but I enjoyed Infamous. I never really played the Sly Cooper games, but I know they're a competent developer, but I never put them up there as okay, they're an amazing developer. Yeah. This game has really changed that. For me, I mean, they just such a solid, amazing job with this. And then on top of that, game was great at launch. It was, from day one, it was fantastic. On top of that, they added a multiplayer expansion to the game, which I thought was going to be oh, okay, well, this is just going to be some afterthought, not going to be good. It's just going to be some little afterthought DLC thing that they're going to throw in. But no, it's actually very well done. It's a satisfying horde mode type of game. It's actually pretty fun. We've had a blast with it.
Oh my god! Yes.
Yeah.
I want to delve more into that because we haven't really talked about that. But I want to just kind of I want to talk about the game, just kind of everything else, and then we'll spend a bit more time with Ghost of Tsushima Legends. But yeah, I agree. For me, the story is phenomenal. I love the story. I love all the twists and turns that happen in the game and the ending. Oh, just pull at my heartstrings, why don't you? Oh my God, it is so good. I love the story. I love the narrative. Jin Sakai is a very intriguing character, and to see his character arc throughout the game of how like he very much is like a lawful neutral character, is like he's very true to the code of the samurai, but he knows that like these Mongols are going to go ahead and like just rip through Tsushima, and he has to like he's like, I'm going to do whatever I can to protect my my clan, to protect this land. And he goes against this code to be more stealthy, to be more of a thief, to do like silent takedown, silent assassination, stuff like that. I love that story. I love all of that. And then like if what we've seen in the other reviews where this is very much like, oh, we've played this before. It's Breath of the Wild and Assassin's Creed and Batman and whatever. And I'm like, why is that a bad thing? This is what I signed up for. I'd rather have a game that has a mechanic or mechanics that we have played before, but finesses them. I'd rather have that than something new.
I don't think the game takes any extreme risks in terms of its gameplay, but I think what was risky about it, I mean, so I've heard that argument that like, oh well, it's kind of by the numbers. I mean, yeah, it's well done, but there's nothing original about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think what was actually kind of the risk and the hesitation I would have if I was like the producer behind this, signing off on the game, my hesitation would be like, okay, you're a Western developer, making a game about this culture that you don't necessarily have a lot of firsthand experience with.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just kind of a weird thing on paper. Like you're going to have this American developer that's made these very American games, and they're going to come and make a story about a not extremely historically accurate, but at least based in history. It seems like kind of a weird pitch,
Yeah.
But it worked. It works really well, and it's surprising, and even amazingly, like even a lot of Japanese critics and developers, and they've embraced the game as well. I can't remember who said it, but there was a quote that one of them said, like it's referring to Sucker Punch. They understand Japan better than we do.
Yeah.
They gave it like the highest compliments they could. It got a perfect score. One of the very few games to get a perfect score in Famitsu, which is their like a big gaming publication in Japan.
Yeah.
My understanding is it's actually very rare for for games to get a perfect score. It doesn't happen all that often.
Mm-hmm.
But they gave it a perfect score. So just. I like I said, I was very surprised by this. I mean, I went into the game just like I said, not expecting it to be this masterpiece, but I fell in love with it. It was my big surprise, good surprise of 2020.
I mean, yeah, I agree. Like, I mean, I knew that this game was going to be good. Like, I was excited, but I was unprepared for just the amount of detail and care that went into the development of this game, to just like, again, everything is down to the smallest detail. Like with how Jin uses his swords, like it's not just like he's like, like it very much is the way of the samurai. It is very much like this is this style and this is this style and so on and so forth. Like, I'm very impressed by Sucker Punch for doing this. Like this was, I would say this was a risk because of like, yeah, people were excited because tons of people love the like age of the samurai, like ninjas and samurais and that kind of thing. But it was very much like rooted into its history and its lore. And yeah, it's still fiction, but it very much was appreciative to the culture of that time that.
Yeah, you can tell this was a game that was obviously made by people that have a great interest in, Japanese history. They're obviously big fans of Kurosawa films and Japanese cinema. They baked that into the game itself. It felt like a video game version of like a Kurosawa film.
Yeah,
and that's what I think they were going for, and they mission accomplished. It works really, really well. I like to and then my only thing with it is, like I said, I want to see more. I want to see what they can do next, where they take it.
This is getting a sequel. This is so hard. This is totally getting a sequel.
I mean, this was such a huge success for a brand new IP. Like I said, people compare it to Last of Us 2, but Last of Us 2 was no matter what your opinion of it is, it's a sequel. There's a lot more hype around it because of how, it was a known quantity. There's a built-in audience for it.
Mm-hmm.
Ghost of Tsushima is a brand new IP, and there's always an element of risk with a new IP.
Yeah.
Because you don't really know how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
But for what it is, it did such an amazing job, and I want to see, and I really want to see more of this. I think I give it even more credit for being a new IP, and I just feel like so much of what we talked about, or pretty much everything else we've talked about so far has been a remake or a sequel or a remake or a sequel. This is a brand new game, and that's exciting. I want to see I always want to see more new, exciting IPs, and this fits the bill.
Yeah, no, I agree. And then everything about that. But let's spend a bit more time with Legends, because I don't think we've really been able to talk about this part of the game.
Yeah.
Where this was the online mode that got announced about maybe a month or two after the game came out. I
don't think anybody expected it to be good.
No. They announced an online mode, and I was like, oh, sweet. This'll be fun. I wasn't expecting anything of this. And then me and Spectre have played the online mode together. Pretty much there's a survival mode, which is just a horde mode, and then a story mode. There is a story involved in the multiplayer, and it's more fantastical. It's more it's very much more, there's more magic and stuff involved. But it's still rooted into, the culture of, the samurai and stuff. So, it's not just, all of a sudden, magic wizards show up. It's still, lore of that time and stuff. But, man, Legends is so much fun. And, I God of War Ascension had a multiplayer mode. And that was fun. Excuse me. I don't know what happened there. God of War Ascension had a multiplayer mode, and it was fun. But there was enough to it, but it very much was okay, you want to have this loadout for all of your characters, and then the gods that you follow, that you aligned yourself to, whether it was Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, or Helios, or Ares, whatever, it gave you powers, but it really didn't change up the game entirely. And mind you, you're playing against people. Where this, you're never playing against other people. You're always playing against the computer. You're playing against the game. It's a horde mode.
I think it would have been interesting. I mean, I think that's a direction to go for in the sequel. Maybe is to have a competitive multiplayer mode, like a player versus player type of thing. That would be interesting to see.
I agree, but then the one thing that I do like about this online mode is that you can just have the power fantasy of beating up killing all of these guys with these ridiculous stats and everything, and you don't have to worry about power creep or having a meta or this is the loadout how you do to fight other people, because then if you do PvP, then you kind of have to look at how do you balance everything. How can you do that where if it's just co-op horde mode or story mode or whatever, you can just have your hunter, your samurai, your ronin, and your assassin we just kill everything. You don't have to worry. You don't have to.
And I know you're not personally a fan of like more competitive multiplayer style things.
Well, the thing is that Sucker Punch, I believe they said after they added the multiplayer mode because it was a fun thing that they wanted to add to it, but the multiplayer wasn't the main thing they wanted to do. The main thing was the 30+ hour story campaign about Jin Sakai. That's why you're there to play the game. The multiplayer is just an added bonus that's just phenomenal. I think that if you do a competitive PvP, you will then have to do more balancing and be more on top of it, and I don't know if Sucker Punch wants to do that. I'm not saying that they shouldn't, because I would love to see a PvP mode, but then you have to do a lot of balancing, and that can be hard. And with with other PvP games, like again, I play Destiny 2, and there's a bunch of broken stuff, and Bungie has to be on top of that all of the time. And that's with other games like Call of Duty. You have to do that too. They have there's a broken meta that they have to nerf things or buff things or whatever. There's just a lot more variables that you have to mess with if you do PvP. That's all I'm saying. I'm not against it. I'm not against doing a PvP. But I think there would be too many variables that I don't think Sucker Punch wants to deal with.
No, I understand where you're coming from. Yeah, I mean, if they want to keep their focus. They wanted to make a great single player story, and they, used kind of the leftover time to make this actually pretty compelling, multiplayer experience too.
Yeah.
So
and
I think it was a surprise of how good it was.
Oh, I agree. And I was so the way it works in Legends is that you have 4 different classes. You have your samurai, your ronin, your assassin, and your hunter. And they all work in different ways. Like your hunter is your long range, your samurai is your DPS, he's your tank. You have your ronin, who's your support, and your assassin, who is kind of maybe DPS or whatever. Samurai, I would probably say samurai and assassin kind of operate in the same way, but they're different. They do it in different ways. But definitely samurai is your tank. And you have 4 different classes, but then you have loadouts for each class, and there are builds that you can do for them. You can do different builds and put different things onto them. And the cool thing is that you can have all 4 of the classes have the exact same loadout. So if my samurai has these weapons and these armor pieces or whatever on them, it's not locked out to the other classes. So when you're trying to level up, your power level, all of them are going to be on point. And there is a steady grind. Where if no matter what, you feel like you're progressing, so you have to grind, but it doesn't feel like you're grinding for no reason, which is I love that. It takes time. You can't just plow through or power level. So if you and a buddy of yours, you're at max, and your buddy isn't, and you have to play at their level. You can't just be like, all right, come into Gold rank, which is the highest, the second higher tier that you can do in difficulty. You can't just bring a level 20, your buddy who's level 20 and you're at 110 or level 100 or power level, and you can just boost them up to there. You have to steadily go through it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So. I love the that, and then there are different pieces of gear that only specific classes that can use. The Ronin can only use the powder bombs. The assassin is the only one that can do the poison darts, and so on and so forth. And then you have exotics. They call it's called legendaries. Yeah, the orange.
Yeah. You have these special limited pieces you could have that sort of enhance and kind of personalize your fighter even more.
Yeah. So I just love everything about this goddamn game. It's so good.
And we haven't really even tried the raid yet. That's like the end game content of of Legends. So we still got to get to that.
No, I agree. I don't even like. There's just so much about this game that I very much enjoy and that I very much love. Graphically, it looks amazing. The style to how it was graphically made is absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, I mean, just like I said, it's the best looking game on the PlayStation 4 in my opinion. Probably the best looking game on the PlayStation 5 is actually enhanced for the PlayStation 5 as well.
Which I very much am happy that there is a PS5 version where it's in the 4K 60 frames, that kind of stuff. Like, I very much enjoy that. But like, oh god, Ghost of Tsushima is such a good game, so good. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to add? I mean, we talked about the story, we talked about care to detail, we talked about graphics, we talked about Legends. Is there anything I'm missing?
I'm trying to think if there is.
I mean, in our spoiler cast, we very much went into massive detail about some of our favorite parts in the game and stuff like that in our spoiler cast. But again, I think all the side characters are memorable. I love all the side characters. They were great. It's just all everything, and then Lord Shimura. Lord Shimura is such a great foil to Jin Sakai. And then you have the head of the Mongols, Khoten Khan, I think it was.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's the big bad. He was menacing. I loved it. I loved it so much. I wanted to make sure I was saying it right instead of Kotal Khan, from Mortal Kombat.
Right.
But yeah, it's just I understand some people are we've played this game before, but this is what I signed up for. I signed up for this, and this is what I got. It met my expectations, exceeded my expectations, and went above and beyond what I even thought this game would do.
Yeah, no, like I said, I was really surprised by it. I thought I was going to like it. I mean, looking at the early, what information we got about the game, I mean, it looked like it was something that was up my alley, but I wasn't expecting to love it.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I was pleasantly surprised. It was probably the best surprise of 2020, really.
No, I agree. So,
I mean, because I knew Doom was going to be good. I knew, everything else was kind of Tony Hawk, I suspected was going to be better this time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything else was kind of sort of known. This was kind of the surprise. I thought this game was going to be just average. I thought it was going to be my opinion of Infamous. I think Infamous is a very average game franchise. I thought it was going to be a lot like that, but this is definitely way above average. This is excellent.
Yeah, no, this game was phenomenal. I wasn't expecting Sucker Punch to I knew this game was going to be good because I love Sucker Punch as a studio. I love what they make. I love Infamous. I love Sly Cooper, but this puts them into a whole another level. This is what Guerrilla Games did with Horizon Zero Dawn. Horizon Zero Dawn brought Guerrilla Games up to another level. This game, Ghost of Tsushima, brought Sucker Punch to another level too. So I'm excited to see what Sucker Punch, whether it's another Ghost of Tsushima sequel, or if it's another game entirely, they now they make another game and then they're still working on Ghost 2 later, whatever it would be. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Yeah. Anything else?
No, I mean it's okay. I feel like I'm talking about this game to death. It's
right?
With good reason, because I mean it is just that fantastic. I mean it deserves the praise it's got.
Mm-hmm.
Highly recommended. I just want more of it.
Yeah. So just Sony Interactive, Sucker Punch, everyone at Sucker Punch, PlayStation Studios, everyone who has worked hard on this game, on Ghost of Tsushima. Your work is well deserved, and this game is the best game to come out in 2020. So yes, the Brotherhood of Geeks awards Ghost of Tsushima the Game of the Year award of 2020. So yeah, what a phenomenal game! What a phenomenal game, and all the work that everyone at Sucker Punch did was well worth it. Just phenomenal, absolutely stupendous game.
Yeah, no, I'm enamored with it. I even got the crazy. I can't wait to see it when it's. I won't see it until like next year, but I got the crazy Prime 1 Studio statue, which looks incredible. So
How tall?
Obviously, I'm in the ultra fan category. I love this game.
How tall is that statue, by the way? How tall is that?
It's at least 2 feet tall.
Okay, wow, that's pretty big. Okay,
it's like that. It's similar to my Kratos statue.
Yeah,
my big Kratos statue.
Yeah.
1/4 scale, 1/4 scale.
So, is there anything you're looking forward to in the year 2021?
Yeah, no. I mean, there's some things that are coming up that I'm looking forward to. Like I said, I don't think we're going to see that James Bond game this year, but I am looking forward to that. We're going to have Nier Gestalt will be coming out this year. That looks pretty good. I like Nier. I'm actually kind of excited to play Mass Effect again. The original Mass Effect trilogy. I feel like it kind of fell apart as it progressed. I thought 1 was the high point, and 2 was kind of a turning point. I think 2 was still a good game, but it kind of started to move in a bad direction, and 3 was pretty disappointing. But
yeah,
I still am excited to play it. I'm excited to play it all in one package. I'm curious to see what they do to change it. Like maybe to make it better even.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. I mean, there's definitely things I'm looking forward to. I mean, there's not like a ton I'm looking forward to. A lot of the things I'm like really, really looking forward to are way down the road. Like, the next Elder Scrolls game, like, that's going to be, way down the road. That's probably still 2 or 3 years away at least. I'm curious about Starfield, but we're probably not going to see that for a long time. We know there's another Fallout game being developed, a more traditional Fallout game, but once again, no idea when that's going to be. So it's there's things that are on the horizon I'm looking forward to, but way down the road. What about you though?
For me, well, of course, the whatever God of War Ragnarok.
Oh, that too.
2021 game.
I can't believe I forgot about that.
That's
I highly doubt. That's another game I categorize as. I know they said that it might come out this year, but I highly doubt that.
As I said, I think if this game comes out if the next God of War game comes out in 2021, it's going to be in the vein of Miles Morales or Uncharted Lost Legacy, where it's a more condensed, shorter game, but it still has tons of content in it, and still it's very focused, but it's not as big as its main original game. Which I'm okay with. I love Miles Morales. I love Lost Legacy. Those games are very good. So I'm okay with that. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to Hogwarts Legacy on the PS5 whenever that comes out. I cannot wait. What else? I am looking forward to. Those are my top 2. I know I'm extremely excited for those 2 especially. Oh, Horizon Forbidden West, whenever that comes out. That's gonna. I think it's at near the end of Q3, so it's gonna be more of the August, September launch. I think it's gonna be. I'm looking forward to that game. There's a few others, but that's kind of what I'm looking forward to within this year or so. And there's going to be more. We're going to get more announcements, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to be here for all the news. We're going to go ahead and get back on that. But we kind of wanted to begin the year 2021 with our game of the year. The kind of to end off 2020 with what we had for game of the year for 2020. So yeah.
Awesome.
All right. Well, then, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please Let us know what you guys think. Is Ghost of Tsushima... Blah, 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 blah. I'm good at talking. I'm so good at this.
You're struggling tonight.
If you guys enjoyed Ghost of Tsushima, please let us know if you agree with us, if that's your game of the year, or if there's another game that you thought was your game of the year, whether it's Last of Us, Doom Eternal, Animal Crossing, Final Fantasy, whatever it would be. Please, we would love to hear you, talk to you in the comments, all that kind of stuff. So, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, youtube.com/Brotherhood of Geeks. Like, comment, share, subscribe, tell everyone you know, all that kind of stuff. And if you haven't already, please press the bell icon. That way, whenever we put up a video, you know we put up a video. You can also follow us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/The Brotherhood of Geeks. You can follow us on Twitter at Dualshock'd BOG. That's the name of this PlayStation podcast. Dualshock'd this way. Dualshock'd BOG. I'm so good at this. And then you can also follow us on Twitch when we stream at twitch.tv/Brotherhood of Geeks. So yeah, we're going to be starting off the year. Right now we're in a bit of a lull, but that's okay because we can kind of go back into our backlog and play some catch up, and then I believe by like the end of February and March, that's when things are going to ramp up really, really hard, and then hopefully in the next few months we can get more PS5s and Series X's out into the wild, and more people can play these next gen consoles and stuff. So yeah. And now I lost Spectre.
No, I'm not. What?
I don't know. I was like, what? Oh, God. All right. Well, then, I think that is everything. All right. You good, Spectre? Anything else you want to add? I think you're good.
No, I'm pretty good.
All righty, then. Well, then, I'm Brett J. Rasmussen.
And Spectre.
And, as always, live to play together. We'll see you guys next time.